What's going on, Tamers? East here, and today we're taking a look at a beginner build for the BT20 Chaosmon deck in the Digimon card game. Now, what exactly is a beginner build? Very true to its name, it's a deck that someone who just recently started playing the game can put together really easily, and also the effects in the deck aren't super complicated, but it's still really fun. Additionally, it's also great for more seasoned players who just want to dip their toe into a deck or just try out the base version without any crazy bells or whistles. If the deck sounds interesting, I recommend that you first give it a try, and then once you've got some experience under your belt, you can make some alterations and tweaks to find the most fun build for you. With that said, let's take a look at BT20's Chaosmon. First of all, why play this deck? So I've been playing the Digimon card game for a long time, and I don't think I've ever seen a deck where the base cards are this cheap and at the same time this powerful. Most of the cards in this deck are uncommon and below, and you can grab all of the cards with the ACCEL trait from the BT20 set, and then 10 other generic cards which are also great staples, because even if you stop using this deck, you'll still use those cards in lots of other decks as well. And then with just that, you'll have a full, really great deck. So that's great and all, but what exactly does the deck do? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Your game plan is just to get to both of your level 6 cards, which you see here in the Bancho and the Voldermon here, and then use the Singularity of Chaos option card in order to create the Chaosmon Volderarm. And then once you do that, he pretty much does all of the rest of the heavy lifting for the deck. He really is your everything card. Like, once you get into this guy, he's going to give you a memory refund. He's going to give you security attack +1, so you can check 2 security at a time. He's going to stop your opponent's on-play effects for a turn from the Digimon and Tamers. And he's also going to basically freeze your opponent's Digimon and prevent them from unsuspending. And if that wasn't enough, in most cases, whenever he's destroyed, he just plays the level 6s up underneath him back onto the board. So if you have another one in hand, you could just do a second Chaosmon Volderarm. Pretty incredible, right? So let's actually show what an example turn for this deck might look like to kind of give you an idea of how all of that happens. Alright, so let's imagine that this is our setup on board. And just for this example here, let's pretend that our security is our opponent's security, just so we can show off how much damage the deck can do. But over the course of the game, you have safely built a level 5 Little Leomon in your raising area, and your opponent has passed you over 2 memory. So to start this turn off, of course, draw, and you're going to push out the Little Leomon into the battle area, and then we can play down the 2-cost option, Singularity of Chaos. Now, it's a white option card, which because of color restrictions, you typically can't do, but because the Little Leomon here has the ACCEL trait, the card says that it's okay, you can actually play it down that way. Now, this card, for cost of 2, is going to let us play down an ACCEL trait Digimon with a reduced play cost of 4. And we're going to play down the Voldermon, who also has the effect that says when you play him down, if there's another ACCEL trait Digimon on the board, you can reduce his play cost further by 5. So -4, -5, it's a 3-cost level 6. What an incredible play. We'll go ahead and put the Singularity of Chaos up underneath the Volderarm as per its second part of its effect. And then Volderarm says that whenever this guy is played, you can rest all of your opponent's Digimon, and then one of your Digimon gains 3000 DP, and then it can attack. So we're going to give the Little Leomon plus 3000 DP, and then he can attack. So we'll have the Little Leomon choose to attack your opponent's security if you'd like. And then once we declare the attack, we still have actually one pending effect that we have to resolve before we can actually conclude the attack, and that is the Pinamon in our inheritance here that says whenever you play another ACCEL trait Digimon down on the board, you can evolve this guy for cost -2. So we're actually going to use that effect to, for 1 cost, evolve the Little Leomon into Bancho Leomon. What's great about him, he can de-digivolve your opponent's Digimon by 2 stages and then give something -5k. And because he already has plus 3000 DP from the Voldermon here, he's a 15k 1-check, and then you also have piercing if you want to punch through a Digimon, and then some of the effects in this deck also give it barrier, which allow it to survive if it would normally die in battle. I don't want to go over all the effects in the deck here, just the important ones for this power play turn, but as one wise man once said, reading the card explains the card, so I definitely recommend you do that for all of the cards in this deck. But continuing the turn here, the Bancho Leomon attacks our opponent's security, so that's 1 security check here. You're typically going to survive this in most cases, and then the end of turn would come because the memory tipped over to your opponent's side, and both of these Digimon have an effect that say, at the end of your turn, you can DNA Digivolve them with another Digimon on board into a Chaosmon in your hand, or Digimon with Chaosmon in its name in your hand. So we'll do that. We'll actually DNA Digivolve both these guys into one huge, massive stack here into a Chaosmon Volderarm from the BT20 set. So when he gets evolved into, a couple of things happen. He can rest your opponent's Digimon and Tamers for each level 6 you have in sources. So that's going to be 1 for the Voldermon here, and then 1 for the Boncholeomon. Additionally, he gets +1 memory back for each level 6 in his sources as well. So boop, we'll go back to 2. And then, as part of the level 6's effect from before, he can actually attack before you finish your turn. So he can swing here, and because he has security attack +1, he actually checks 2. And again, he's most of the time going to survive because he has a myriad of effects that allow him to do that. Again, I implore you to read the cards in Inheritance, as their effects are actually pretty important defensively and offensively. And now it's our opponent's turn, and they are shut off because of the Chaosmon Volderarm's effect from using their Digimon's own play effects and their Tamer's own play effects, which means typically the turn he comes out, you can wipe your opponent's board, and then if they have nothing left to work with, their turn is going to be super lackluster. So let's assume that they have a, again, less than spectacular turn because you've pretty much done all the damage with the Volderarm here, and they tip it back over somehow to just 1 on your side. That's okay. Before their turn ends, before their turn finishes, you can actually use the Singularity of Chaos's Inheritance effect from before. Remember this option card we use? It says you can give this Digimon minus 30,000 DP and then destroy or discard or trash one of your opponent's security. So we'll do that. We'll give this guy minus 3,000 DP. We'll trash 1 security. And because he has an effect called Partition, whenever he's destroyed, instead of the whole stack just getting yeeted, you get to keep and replay the level 6s. So we get to replay the Voldermon and the Boncholeomon here. And we get to use both of their own play effects. The Boncholeomon giving you D-Digivolve 2 and minus 5k, and then the Voldermon here giving you the ability to rest all of your opponent's Digimon. It also gives plus 3k, but that's only for the turn, so it'll just kind of fizzle out. At this point, because this is at the end of your opponent's turn, when the start of your turn comes, because these Digimon have technically been out on the field for a turn, they can then both attack. So to finish the game up, you just swing with the Boncholeomon. If he is destroyed, it's okay, because you still have 1 more Digimon here. And then you just win the game with the Voldermon attack. Pretty crazy, right? So I want to give you a couple of tips to help you when you're playing the deck. Now, I showed off the power play turn just a moment ago, but I want to talk about the turns leading up to that, to actually get to that point. And the idea, again, like I said before at the start of the video, is that you want to amass 1 of the level 3s, level 4s, and level 5s, of which there are 2 kinds of in the deck. And also, both of the level 6s, the Singularity of Chaos option card, and then a Chaosmon Volderarm, or one of the other Chaosmon out there. And I think that that's pretty straightforward. It might seem like a lot of cards, but actually, this is all the deck is. It's literally all the pieces to put together. So you're always drawing. Every time you're picking up cards or using search effects, you're always just going through only these cards. So now let's actually talk about how to search through the deck. A couple of the cards you might want to use are things like the actual Accel trait Leormon, who can look at top 3 and grab a Accel trait Digimon or Chaosmon named Digimon, and 1 Accel trait option, so in this case being the Singularity of Chaos. He can grab 1 of each of those, so 1 Digimon and then 1 option. Additionally, you've got cards like Yellow Memory Boost, which is a fantastic staple. It's not in BT20, but it is a basic staple that's been out for the game a long time. Which lets you search 4 cards off the top of your deck, and then you can grab 1 Digimon that has yellow in its color. So that's basically any Digimon in the deck. And then later on, you can use this as a memory refund, but that's not important right now. Additionally, you've also got cards like Analog Youth, who is a 2 cost, so he's super cheap. He can look at top 3 cards of your deck. You can grab 1 Digimon, and then you trash the rest. So you can open up really quickly, really cheaply, 3 cards, grab whatever you need, and everything else goes to the trash. And while that might seem scary, you might be wary of actually losing some of the cards in the trash, you can also opt to use a couple copies of the Yellow Scramble card recently released in the West, which lets you evolve at cost -1, which for this deck isn't super important, but more importantly, you can use its secondary delay effect on later turns to grab a yellow card from the trash, put it on top of your deck so that you immediately draw it. And then you can also play down a level 3 if you don't have anything on board. Something that I think might trip up players a little bit when they're playing this deck for the first couple of times is that you always want to be searching, unless you're doing your power turn. And that means sometimes you want to play the Yellow Memory Boost, but keep in mind that you have to have a Digimon or a Tamer of this color to actually play the option card of this color. So while all the Digimon in the deck are yellow, the Tamer is not because it's white, and actually the egg is not either. So if you only have an egg on the board and you don't have a level 3 evolved over it who has a yellow color, you can't actually play the Yellow Memory Boost. Keep that in mind. It's kind of niche, but it's also really important because sometimes you'll just make illegal plays if you do this. So just remember that if you don't have a level 3 in Raising or in the battle area, you can't play this card. And that's going to be my recommended beginner build for the BT20 Chaosmon deck. Honestly, if you're just hopping into the Digimon card game, I wholeheartedly recommend this deck. It is insane. And again, it's strong even against strong decks. So if you want something that you can just hop in with that's super cheap, super efficient, this is definitely the build to get in on. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Before you get out of here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. People are going to play against this deck. They're going to have the Chaosmon Valderarm swing on them. They're going to ace him to blow him up. And then they're going to see the Bancho Leomon come back on the board and be like, that really is the most infuriating play in the game right now.